My girlfriend messaged me. I'm keeping the child, but I'm listing my former partner's name on the birth certificate. It's simpler that way. I responded with a single word. Fine. After that, I terminated the rental agreement for our shared flat, forwarded her message to her ex, and dispatched a congratulations on becoming a father gift hamper to him. The phone call I received from his enraged spouse. Original post. I, 31 male, received the text while seated in the lobby of her initial obstetric checkup. Allow that to register. I was right there to back my expectant partner, and she unleashes this revelation through a message while I'm merely a few yards distant. The note from Jessica, 29 female, I'd been reflecting. When the infant arrives, I'll place Trevor's name on the birth certificate. It's more convenient for coverage and such. You get it, don't you? We know the reality. That's what counts. Trevor, her previous boyfriend, the man she vowed she hadn't contacted in more than 12 months. I peered through the glass panels at her in the consultation area, device in grip, not even glancing up to gauge my response. 2 years as a couple, half a year cohabiting in our residence, 3 months into the pregnancy with what I believed was our shared destiny. I messaged back just, fine. She genuinely grinned at her screen and flashed me a thumbs up via the window, as if I'd consented to grabbing groceries en route. The attendant summoned her for the scan. I stayed behind. Rather, I exited to my vehicle and remained there for a solid 20 minutes, simply absorbing it all. Then I reached some resolutions. Initially, I phoned my friend Alex, a paralegal in family law. Theoretically, if a person lists another guy's name on a birth certificate knowing it's not his offspring, does that count as deception? Without a doubt. How come? Merely wondering. One more query. If an individual's name appears on the certificate, but they can demonstrate they were misled, are they able to pursue legal action? Certainly. Deception, psychological harm, monetary losses. What's prompting this? I'll explain soon. Then I set to action. Our rental was on a monthly basis, both our signatures on the contract. I covered the entire payment since Jessica stopped working due to nausea from the pregnancy. Contacted the property owner, provided 30 days notice to leave. Completely lawful since we were joint renters and either party could terminate. Next, I conducted some online profile sleuthing. Located Trevor without much effort. Wedded 2 years prior to a lady named Monica. Their page overflowed with joyful duo snapshots, getaway images. His most recent update from the day before. Eager to begin a household with my wonderful spouse. Pal, you haven't a clue what's ahead. I captured Jessica's message on screen, set up a fresh email address, and forwarded it to Trevor with the header. Felicitations, you're about to be a parent. The email was straightforward. Your past girlfriend Jessica asked me to inform you she's expecting and intends to include your name on the birth certificate. She claims it's more straightforward. Figured you ought to be aware since you'll be lawfully and monetarily accountable. Cheers. Then, since I'm resentful and wounded, I visited one of those hamper delivery sites. Delivered a congratulations new dad assortment to Trevor's workplace, sourced from his professional network profile. The attached note stated, from Jessica and the little one, excited for your participation. By the time Jessica returned from her visit, I'd begun gathering my belongings. Hey love, apologies for your departure. All right? She inquired, showing no real worry. Yes, everything's fine, just recalled a professional obligation. She accepted it. Passed the night discussing infant titles, room shades. I agreed outwardly while inwardly listing items that were mine to remove. That evening, she received a message. Then another. Then her device began ringing nonstop. What on earth? She grumbled. Then her expression drained of color. Oh no. Update 1. The consequences unfolded swiftly and dramatically. Jessica's phone went into overdrive. She kept ignoring the rings, but they persisted. Eventually, she picked up one on loudspeaker, unaware I could overhear from the sleeping area, where I was resting. It was Trevor, and he was livid. What in the world, Jessica? What infant? What certificate? I haven't a clue what you're on about. Stop fabricating. An anonymous person forwarded me your message regarding listing my name on a birth certificate. Monica is freaking out. She believes I was unfaithful. An anonymous person forwarded you. Oh no, it's not as it appears. Then how is it? Are you with child? Affirmative, but is it mine? Extended silence. Negative. Then why on earth would you include my name on the birth certificate? It's complex. You possess superior coverage via your employment. And are you out of your mind? That's deception. And I'm wedded. I realize you're wedded. That's precisely why it could succeed. You wouldn't seek guardianship, so he disconnected. Jessica burst into the sleeping area. Did you forward that message to Trevor? I rose, feigned ignorance. What message? Stop acting clueless. An unknown party sent him our confidential exchange. Our confidential exchange about you planning deception? She had the nerve to appear insulted. It's not deception. It's merely documentation. It's exactly deception, Jess. You intend to falsify an official record. For the infant's advantage, Trevor has excellent coverage through his technology position. You're independent. Your coverage is inadequate. So you chose alone to engage in deception and burden another man monetarily with my offspring. It's not that way. He wouldn't need to actually contribute anything, except be lawfully and monetarily accountable for 18 years. You're exaggerating. Am I? Did you consider that he's wedded? That this might ruin his union? She sighed dramatically. That's not my concern. And there it was. The facade entirely dropped. The following morning, while Jessica showered, her device rang. The display showed Monica. I allowed it to voicemail, but Jessica listened later, unaware I was eavesdropping from the corridor. You despicable, marriage-ruining scum. Trevor disclosed everything. If you include his name on any paperwork, I'll litigate you into ruin. I'm an attorney, darling, and your scheme is deception. Keep distance from my spouse or I'll demolish you. Jessica actually chuckled. She's overly theatrical. That afternoon, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. It was Monica. Are you Jessica's partner? Temporarily. You dispatched that email to Trevor? I can neither affirm nor refute. Gratitude. He was nearly unwittingly tied legally to a child not his own. You rescued us from a disaster. He ought to consult an attorney. Record all details. In progress, may I inquire, is the infant yours? Allegedly. Allegedly. Well, she aimed to list another man's name on the certificate because it's simpler. Leads me to question what else she deems simpler. Monica paused briefly. Obtain a DNA verification. Already intending to. That night, Jessica declared she would reside with her mother until the chaos subsided. Chaos would subside if you hadn't attempted deception. I noted. You violated my confidence. You acted secretly. I relayed a message about you acting secretly. The infant you're bearing that I assumed was mine, you wished to lawfully proclaim as another man's. It is yours. I merely figured. You figured you could utilize Trevor's coverage and funds while I acted as parent. That's your figure. She began weeping. You fail to comprehend the strain I'm facing. Pregnancy is challenging. I'm simply attempting to do what's optimal. What's optimal is avoiding deception. She gathered a suitcase and departed. 20 minutes later, I received a message from her mother. Diane, how dare you upset my expectant daughter? She's vulnerable currently. I replied, your daughter attempted paternity deception. That's a serious offense in this jurisdiction. She was merely bewildered. Pregnancy changes. Changes prompted her to scheme deception. You're cruel. I ceased replying. The next day, I took leave from work and relocated all my possessions. Left the furnishings. It was primarily hers regardless, but I took all I'd purchased. Television, gaming system, coffee machine, the quality cookware. Vindictive? Perhaps. Gratifying? Definitely. Left a memo. Rental concludes in 30 days. Your mother can likely assist with payments. Best wishes with Trevor's coverage. Update 2. Jessica freaked out upon returning to a partially vacated flat and a termination notice. The messages began instantly. Where are you? Where are your items? The owner says you canceled the rental? You cannot do this. I'm expecting. Respond. This is unlawful. I'm alerting authorities. She truly did contact police. They phoned me. I clarified I terminated a monthly rental I was party to and removed my personal property. They informed her it was a non-criminal issue. Then the relatives mobilized. Her sibling Lauren phoned initially. You must step up and handle your duties. My duties? She intended to list another man's name on the birth certificate. She clarified it was for coverage reasons. That's termed deception, Lauren. It's against the law. You're deserting your offspring. I'm not deserting anyone. I'll undergo DNA testing post-birth. If it's mine, I'll participate. But I'm not remaining with someone who views deception as a relaxed fix for coverage problems. Her father, Robert, attempted next. Alternate tactic. Young man, I understand Jessica erred. But, erred? She schemed to falsify an official record and tie another man legally to a child. She wasn't clear-headed. She was clear-headed enough to message me about it while I waited in the lobby of her obstetric visit. That's quite deliberate. Can't you pardon her? For the infant, I can co-parent if the infant's mine. But I can't rely on her. She revealed her true self. Meanwhile, the Trevor scenario intensified. Monica had launched full retaliation. She'd retained counsel to dispatch Jessica a formal warning letter, stating any effort to include Trevor's name on paperwork would trigger instant litigation. Jessica, in her boundless insight, chose to reconcile by contacting Trevor personally. I know, as Monica shared the captures with me, we'd stayed in touch, exchanging information. Jessica, hello, apologies for the mix-up. Can we discuss? No. Cease all contact. It's not what you assume. I simply required assistance with coverage. Trevor. That's deception. My counsel states further contact constitutes harassment. Your spouse forced you to get counsel? Domineering much? My spouse prevented me from being ensnared by my unstable ex blocking you. Jessica then attempted victim portrayal online. Shared about how certain individuals can't accept a woman striving to support her infant, and the betrayal when you believed someone cared. The responses weren't as anticipated. One shared acquaintance. Didn't you attempt to list your ex's name on the birth certificate? Another. That's outright deception, dear. Her relative. Lady, remove this, you're humiliating yourself. She erased the share in under an hour. Then the major twist. Jessica's mother phoned me in tears. Please return. Jessica's experiencing issues from the tension. What issues? Elevated blood pressure. The physician advises avoiding tension. Then she ought to cease attempting deception and manipulating others. How can you be so unfeeling? That's your infant. Is it? Since she was quite ready to legally declare it Trevor's. She erred. No, Diane. An error is misplacing keys. This was a deliberate plot to defraud and commit a serious offense. The blame shifts persisted for days. Images of Jessica appearing mournful. Notes about how the infant requires a parent. Tales of challenged expectant mothers. But here's the reality. I'd already sought legal advice. If the infant was mine, I'd pursue shared guardianship. Given Jessica's attempted deception, evidenced by her own messages, I held a strong position. Final update. 3 months have passed since the events. The infant arrived 2 weeks back. A small girl named Sophia. I attended the delivery, not inside the delivery suite. Jessica refused my presence there, but at the facility. I communicated via my counsel that I demanded DNA testing right away. Jessica resisted initially, called it demeaning, and evidence I never relied on her. But when hospital personnel noted I held the legal entitlement to demand it prior to any signatures, she relented. Outcomes returned in 48 hours. Sophia is mine. The alleviation was immense. Succeeded instantly by fury that Jessica had been prepared to strip me of my daughter for superior coverage. But here's where Jessica's self-importance truly gleamed. With DNA verified, she anticipated I'd promptly return and form a household. See, I informed you she was yours. Now we can move past this. No, Jessica. We're not a couple. I'll seek shared guardianship. Her expression shifted from optimistic to enraged. You can't seize my infant. Our infant. And I'm not seizing her. I'm requesting shared guardianship. That's equitable. Equitable? You deserted me during pregnancy. You attempted paternity deception. I possess it documented. She employed every tactic available. Sophia requires her parents united. Should have considered that prior to deception. I'm nursing. She can't separate from me. Expressing milk is an option. You lack infant knowledge. Online videos and caregiver courses are available. I'll ensure you never encounter her. Best of luck in litigation. My counsel submitted for shared guardianship right away. Jessica responded seeking sole guardianship with monitored visits for me, alleging I was unreliable and had deserted her during pregnancy. The tribunal session occurred last week. Jessica arrived portraying the sufferer. Gentle tone, tears prepared, full act. Her counsel claimed I was an unsuitable parent who deserted an expectant woman. Then my counsel displayed the proof. The initial message about listing Trevor's name on the birth certificate. Message threads where Jessica conceded it was for coverage deception. Monica's affidavit about Jessica attempting to tie her spouse legally to another man's child. The formal warning Jessica got. Reputation references including my boss and local residents. The magistrate's expression was memorable. He directly questioned Jessica. Ma'am, did you truly intend to list another man's name on the birth certificate? I was disoriented. Pregnancy changes. This message appears quite explicit. You stated it was more convenient for coverage. I wasn't rational. Ma'am, trying to alter a birth certificate is criminal. Jessica began sobbing. Genuine tears now. The decision. Shared legal guardianship with a phased physical schedule. I have Sophia every weekend presently, advancing to equal split when she's half a year old. Jessica must undergo therapy for at least half a year. Any parental interference efforts will prompt custody review. Jessica exploded, began yelling in the tribunal about how I was appropriating her infant, and the magistrate was biased against mothers. The magistrate cautioned her on contempt. Her mother had to forcibly remove her. The consequences have been noteworthy. Jessica's been informing all that I'm a neglectful parent who deserted her and appropriated her infant. Issue is, most now know of the certificate matter, so sympathy is scarce. Trevor and Monica? They're fine. She's expecting now, legitimately, and they mailed me a felicitations note when Sophia arrived. Possibly. But I believe we connected over evading Jessica's scheme. Jessica's mother still phones attempting blame. Jessica's facing difficulties. She requires rent aid. She should secure employment. She has a newborn. So do I. I continue working. You're merciless. No, I'm simply not a fun source. Jessica attempted one final tactic last week. Messaged a lengthy note about how she's pondered and matured and acknowledges her error. Perhaps we could retry for Sophia. I replied with a capture of her original certificate message. She labeled me a jerk. I ceased responding. Look, I'm not proud of certain vindictive acts. The hamper to Trevor's workplace was likely excessive. But I'm also unapologetic. Jessica was prepared to strip me of my daughter, engage in deception, and shatter another's union for superior coverage. She engaged in foolish actions and reaped foolish outcomes. Now I have my daughter 3 days weekly, soon equal, a pleasant single-bedroom residence nearer to my job, and a tribunal mandate safeguarding my rights. Jessica has a 2-bedroom she can't manage, a notoriety as one who attempted paternity deception, and a guardianship setup she despises but can't alter. She's ideal, unconcerned with the turmoil, just seeks her feed and cuddles. I've established a full nursery, likely overdid the pink theme, but oh well. My counsel says Jessica's already probed modifying guardianship. Desires to relocate states with Sophia for a new beginning. The response was negative. She can't move without my agreement or tribunal permission, which she won't obtain given her record. The self-importance persists though. Last night she messaged inquiring if I'd pay her power bill for Sophia's benefit. I transferred $20 via app with note for Sophia's lamp. She called me pitiful. I sent another $5 with note for wipes. She restricted me on the app. Valuable. Anyway, that's my account. Didn't anticipate single parenthood at 31. But here we are. Sophia's worth every bit of the upheaval. And honestly, discovering Jessica's true nature before marriage or additional children, that hamper to Trevor might have been the finest $89.99 I ever invested.